Okay, so next we're gonna install the oil pump with the spring and the plunger. Okay, so this will go here, but the body of the oil pump has direction, of course, because this is where the bowl of the one direction valve goes. So you can see here, this is the opening through which the end of the bowl shows up. So this needs to match this. To drive it in, usually you use the same tool that you used to pull it out, but I returned it to John Leo. So I'm gonna just try to tap it with something until it goes in, but also you have to make sure that these holes match these holes for the screws. So for this I'm gonna use those little rods that I made. I just sharpened a little bit one end so they can go in the screw holes, and that's how the pump is gonna go. Underneath, the plunger needs to go from under because it's not gonna pass through, even though it should. But I'm not gonna force it, I can just push it from underneath, like that. Put the spring on, and the oil pump, again, careful about the direction. And that's how it goes. I have this brass punch, I'm gonna use that. Yeah, it's going in. Just making sure these rods are not tight, which would mean that the pump got twisted somehow. Everything underneath is still good. With every tap of the hammer I can feel it moving. If I don't, I won't force it. And it's actually there. So now I gotta be very careful with my screwdrivers because they are magnetic and many times they have metal shavings stuck to them, so I don't want these to end up inside the overdrive. So that's why I'm being careful. Now here, this is the plunger of the oil pump, and it's getting driven by this cam. You see this cam goes there, and then when it turns, it pushes the plunger up and down and up and down, and that's how it pumps oil. Oh, and here we shouldn't forget the plug, and we're just gonna fasten it there. Next, we're gonna change the O-rings on the two operating pistons, and we're gonna install them. So I had a pick somewhere, okay, so I'm gonna remove the old ones. I'll put some oil here and some on the O-ring. Okay, this is the replaced one, and then we're gonna pull this one out. This one. Okay. And now we can install them in their place. Of course, we're gonna put oil inside too. Not upside down, right? Okay. Okay, then the bridges, they have a direction. They look the same, both sides. Hold on. Don't forget the little tabs. The nuts here are special nuts. Don't use just any nut. Okay, I'm trying to work in such way so you can see better, and now I don't see. Oh guys, the things I do for you. So before I put the accumulator in, I'm gonna put the non-return valve. We have here two bowls. The small one is for the non-return valve, the big one is for the operating valve. We have plungers that are the same, and we have springs that are the same, and we have this rod goes into the operating valve. So we're gonna get rid of that for now. We're gonna get rid of the big bowl. We're gonna get rid of one of the springs and one of the plungers. And these are the parts that need to go in this little hole inside. I hope you can see. First goes the bowl, then goes the plunger and the spring, like this. So you gotta make sure that the tail of the plunger is inside the spring. And now I can install the plug. So next I will install the piston and the accumulator. So that's the accumulator with the piston, and there are steel rings on this. And these are good, but if yours are not good, you're gonna have to change them. The piston goes inside. The whole thing goes together. There's a new ring here. I installed it off camera. Actually, I installed it in front of the camera, but the camera ran out of battery. I put some oil there in the cylinder, and then the whole assembly goes inside. Okay, so it goes all the way in. And this is the sleeve for the spring. This particular Overdrive has only one spring, and it has this end here which goes up, but there are Overdrives with two springs. So early or late ones, I think the early ones have two springs, the late ones have one spring like this one. So this one is with only one spring here. So now here we need a gasket. So we have gasket maker here. So we have gasket. I have to put gasket maker on this side of the gasket too. Okay, and then we have the cover on which I already put gasket maker, and this cover goes like this. Oh, who said wait? Okay guys, I'm just testing you, I know. I'm testing it to see if you know your lesson. I know my lesson, yeah. We have an O-ring that goes on this shaft, because this is the shaft for the operating valve, and it needs to have an O-ring here, and that's why this rear cover has this groove inside. But you should have told that to Carlos, because when he assembled it last time, he didn't put an O-ring there. But that's another story. So the O-ring goes there, and then we can install the cover. So I'm just gonna go a little bit. Not gonna tighten them with this, of course. I tighten them by hand. Okay. And later I'm gonna remove this nut to put the cover on, but that's gonna be after I install the lever here and everything. And now I'm gonna install the operating valve, which is first the I made sure it was clean, but I wanted to blow through that hole and make sure the hole is clean. So then the bowl goes on top of the valve, then the plunger and the spring, and finally the plug. Now the plug, I'm not gonna tighten it, I'm just gonna finger tighten it, because we're gonna have to remove it in order to measure the pressure inside. So, like I said, I'm not gonna put this cover yet here, the drain plug, because I will need to run wire here to pull the plunger up, so when I'm installing the cam, it's gonna be easier, even though without the wire, it should go, as long as I make sure that the cam goes this way, not this way, and you force it goes underneath. So it shouldn't be that hard, but still I'm gonna leave myself room to pull the plunger up if I need to. So for now I'm gonna remove the cam. I can actually install the speedo pinion. Okay, let's do that now. So that's the old one, goes to garbage. Okay, so now the speedometer pinion goes inside the body, and all this thing goes like this. Here, let me make sure there is oil there. Good. And then we need to insert it this way, so this hole matches this hole, and then we can put our locking set screw. Right there. And here. This is not common for the A-type overdrives. I don't know why. On this one we have an opening here, which I'm gonna clean now. On most of them this is part of the casting and it's not open at all, but since this one is open, we're gonna have to put a core plug here. Okay, so this is the core plug that's supposed to go there. Okay, so I'm gonna put gasket maker there. Okay, here for the pinion we have this seal that goes at the end so the oil doesn't leak around the cable. But okay, there's a washer here that's holding it, and then so next is this lever here. We gotta make sure that this lever hits exactly the operating valve. That's the bottom of the operating valve, and it does. But to stay there, because it can slide sideways, if I tap it slowly, you see it goes to the end. It won't miss the valve, but it's not good. So this is where it's supposed to be. To keep it there is responsible this little collar here that again my friend didn't install. So first this goes there, and then the lever for the operating valve, and then the solenoid. It's plunger, like this, and then solenoid like this. Now I don't have gasket for here, but I'm gonna put some of the gasket maker, because this is only for dust, because this is all sealed. There shouldn't be oil here inside. And there's a cover, this cover that comes here. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of gasket maker here, and I'm gonna close it. Okay, and because there's a special adjustment here of the position of this lever where it's gonna go, I'm gonna leave that for the next episode, because I'm really tired now, and tomorrow we're gonna adjust this, and this needs to be positioned perfectly, and then we're gonna test the unit. We're gonna do a preliminary test without installing it on the gearbox, and then if it operates well, then we're gonna install it on the gearbox, we're gonna put oil, and then we're gonna try to build a stand so we can test it properly, if everything engages, and if we have the 400 psi pressure inside that's required to operate the operating valves, and etc, etc, etc. So stay tuned, and we're gonna see each other soon again. Bye.